Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to answer one simple question. What is Star Citizen? It's a question that I see asked all over my Star Citizen videos and just about everywhere else on the internet, whether it be someone else's YouTube channel or even just, a journalism post on some popular gaming news site. There's just so many misconceptions about what Star Citizen is, and there's so many people who have no idea what this game is all about, what it's trying to do, and how they can actually get into it, and how much it'll cost them to go ahead and play it. So I wanted to answer all of those questions and more in a very simplistic manner. And I also wanted to be as honest as possible about what is actually available to play if you decide to purchase Star Citizen today. But let's start with the bare bones of it. What is Star Citizen in the most simple form? It is a space simulation being developed inside of a heavily modified version of the CryEngine by legendary space sim developer Chris Roberts and a plethora of other development teams that originally started as Chris Roberts and his team at CIG. It's now turned into like 6 or 7 other studios. I've lost track. I mean, you've got the guys at Foundry 42 working on Squadron 42. You guys got the guys at the guys and gals, I should say, at IllFonic working on the FPS module. There's just a massive amount of teams that have come together to help Chris Roberts make his dream of a space sim universe true. And that is one of the biggest things that I want to point out, is that Star Citizen isn't just a space combat game. You don't just do combat inside of ships. You're going to be able to do combat on foot in first-person shooter environments, and that's something we'll talk about a little bit more later. But let's go ahead and get to the basics, right? You see videos on Star Citizen, maybe you've watched my videos or someone else's videos. How the hell do you actually play this game? How much is it going to cost you? What is it going to take to run it? What kind of peripherals do you need? Can I play with a mouse and keyboard? Can I play with a controller? Let's start with the basics. And the best place to go ahead and do that is the Roberts Space Industries website. It's RSI, robertsspaceindustries.com. I'll have all of these links for you down in the comment section below. Click them at your will and see where they take you. But as soon as you go ahead and you head on over to the RSI website, you're greeted with the opening page. There might be the latest piece of content they put out on their YouTube channel. There'll be com links, which are tons of posts from the developers about what they've been doing over the past month or the past week, information on the latest module, when it's going to be released, or any sort of updates that are happening with the game. There's a lot of information here, and it can be a bit overwhelming. But if you're just looking to get into the game for the first time and you want to know how much it's going to cost you can go ahead and click the Fly Now button. That's going to give you the option of purchasing a package. This package is going to contain one of 2 ships, either the Aurora MR or the Mustang Alpha. That's $45 USD. Both of these packages will give you instant access to the game in its alpha state. That means that you can play and fly in Arena Commander today. You can hop in, you can go dogfight with your friends, or you can just free roam and mess about in your brand new spaceship. It also gives you the ability to play Star Citizen upon release, and also any sort of beta or any other modules that are released moving into the future, and that is pretty damn fantastic. So that's it, $45. You don't have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to play Star Citizen. That is a really common misconception. $45 will get you access to whatever spaceship you choose to purchase, the Arena Commander Pass. It'll get you the Selfland Hangar, which is one of the multiple hangars available in the game. It will also give you 1,000 UEC, which is the currency that's going to be allowed to purchase things in-game. It also allows you to purchase weapons and equipment through the website that you can then equip to your ships in-game. You get 3 months of insurance for your ship when it is a relevant subject within the game's universe. You get a digital Star Citizen manual. You get access to the standalone Squadron 42, which is going to be a single-player Star Citizen campaign. Of course, you get digital access to Star Citizen, and as I said, beta access. That's it. You don't have to spend $500 or $600 or even $50. $45 is all you need to purchase Star Citizen and be in it for the long run. Now, you could go ahead and you could back the game further. You could buy more spaceships, which you'll then be able to use in the full game. And some of those ships can also be used right now in Free Flight and Arena Commander and all of the different available modes. But you don't have to. It's completely up to you. Basically, what CIG has done is they've allowed people to purchase ships that will be flyable in the full game as a means of supporting and backing the game. It's really one of the big reasons that they now have $83 million in funding, which is a lot for a developer that doesn't have to go through a publisher and has taken out the middleman costs. It's pretty awesome, and it gives the game a lot of room to grow moving into the future. But as I said, you don't have to spend $110 on a Cutlass Black. $45 will get you into the game and ready to go. Now, once you've downloaded what is a rather large game, around 20 gigs I believe it's at right now. It's pretty big in a raw state. It's not really compressed. You're going to be able to do that through the launcher, either using peer-to-peer, a combination of HTTP and peer-to-peer, or just pure HTTP, whatever you feel is going to be fastest. You can go ahead and boot up the game and enter your hangar for the very first time. Once you're inside your hangar, you can walk around, you can mess about with different things in the hangar. Some hangars have elevators or certain doors that you can go through to different areas of the hangar. Depending on how many ships you have in the hangar, it will automatically expand, creating more rooms to hold your different ships. You'll also see posters that you can purchase from the in-game store with that UAC that you can place on the wall. There'll be a fish tank depending on when you back the game. There's lots of little goodies that are inside your hangar, and it's generally a really good place to start to just look at how well textured and crafted the environments and the objects are inside of Star Citizen. You can also go ahead and actually climb into any of your spaceships, mess about, climb around in the back of them, maybe lay in the bed of your Aurora just to kind of, see what it'll be like once you're able to do those sorts of things in the full persistent universe. You can also modify and fit different weapons and shields that you purchased through the website using those in-game credits, which can be earned just by playing the game online or in Vandal Swarm. You can then equip those to any of your ships, swap out, mess around with the different weapons, see what works best for you when playing any of the game modes. And of course, when you're actually ready to go out and fly the ships, you can climb into your little sim pod and boot up one of several game modes. There are offline and online modes of many different kinds. You can play online against other people in 3 different game modes, including Team Deathmatch, Free-for-all, as well as Capture the Core, which is essentially capture the flag. Or you could just go ahead and free roam with some of your buddies. You could also take on the Horde wave-based Vandal Swarm mode with your friends or alone. You could go into Free Flight and just mess around on the 2 available maps, either Dying Light or Broken Moon. Or you could go ahead and enter yourself in the Murray Racing Cup, which is basically Star Citizen's version of space racing. There's 3 tracks in total available right now, and it's a bit of fun to just kind of see where they're going to be taking that. That is a module that is going to be expanded greatly moving into the future, but again, you can kind of capture the core essence of it, and if you're into racing spaceships, it's actually a hell of a lot of fun. I'd say that if you were a big fan of F-Zero back in the day, you might feel a little bit of a nostalgia there, although it isn't quite the same. And last but not least, they've just recently introduced a full-on training tutorial. This tutorial will teach you how to take off, how to match speeds of your targets, how to engage targets, and how to land your ship, among other things. It's really the perfect place to go to not only learn how to fly your ship if you're new to the game, but to experience a little taste of what you can expect from the sort of story and NPC interaction when the full game goes live. Now that's what's available in Star Citizen right now. And you can do that with any of the ships that you place in your hangar, including the starting ships, or any ships that you might decide to purchase with real-world money before the game comes out. But remember what I said, that every ship that you see in-game right now that people are buying with real-world money, you're going to be able to buy with in-game money when the game goes live. So there's no reason to purchase anything beyond the Aurora or the Mustang. Again, that's completely up to you. You'll be able to buy all of this stuff in-game with in-game credits. Now looking at the very, very near future of Star Citizen, we have the release of the FPS module coming up, hopefully in the next several months. I'm actually going to have this video date stamped so you guys will know when I talked about it. It'll make it a little bit easier for people to understand, why is he saying the FPS module isn't out yet? It's already out. You'll know because it'll be a date on the video. But the FPS module is planning to drop within the next several months. They're still developing it. As I said, there are multiple teams working on different components of the game. Illuphonic is the team responsible for the FPS module, and they're looking to release it with 2 available modes. One that is sort of a team-based tactical first-person shooter, and one that is an anti-gravity, almost Ender's Game type scenario that has people flying across a zero-G arena with crazy floating barricades and trying to score points with a grab ball on each other's nets, as I guess you'd say. It's kind of like Griffball in space is the best way to put it. Now, the FPS module is something that a lot of people are looking forward to. It's something that we've seen a lot of footage on and a lot of information on, and the team at Illuphonic is trying to make it really, really impressive. I mean, heavy tactical stuff. Think classic Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon, sort of taken to the next level. There's even a momentum-based weight system that forces your character to actually slow down based on how heavy their gear is or how heavy the player is. A lot of really cool stuff they're doing with that. And if you want to know more about all these systems that I'm talking about, once again, the best place to go is to the Robert Space Industries website. There's a ton of information on all of the different components, what's currently in development, and what is, well into the future. Speaking of what is well away and into the future, you can take a look at the roadmap on the Star Citizen website, and you'll see that they have these little modules all segmented. So we have Arena Commander and the Hangar module, which have already been launched. The first-person shooter module, as I said, is coming very soon. Then we have Squadron 42, which is the single-player standalone campaign being worked on by Foundry 42. We have the Persistent Universe and Planet Side. All of these elements are going to be released in modules, just like Arena Commander and the Hangar was. You'll be able to play them all separately. Once the Persistent Universe goes live and they sort of lock everything into beta, it'll all come together and they'll turn the game into not really its final state, but one of its final states, which will be a more open world MMO where you can interact with other players, your friends, you can team up to take down AI or, other players out in the universe. You can be a bounty hunter, a trader. Pretty much you can do whatever you want. There is no end game in Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. It's just doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, and having as much fun as possible. That's really the core of Star Citizen. Now, when you kind of get into the details of things, people might like to ask me about, what can I play the game with? Well, you can play with a mouse and keyboard, you can play with a HOTAS, you can play with a controller, it has track IR support. I believe it even already has VR support for those of you out there who are with an Oculus Rift dev kit. And things are always changing. The game may not run that well on your computer right now, but they're definitely trying to optimize. Luckily, the CryEngine, while they are using a heavily modified version of it, is known for being very scalable, meaning that it looks great even on low settings. On the other spectrum, they are trying to make Star Citizen a bit of a powerhouse, a very high poly, high resolution game that will look absolutely stunning on the most expensive PC rigs. But don't let that deter you. As I said, they are looking to optimize across the board so people with lower end rigs can play the game as well. But if you're running on like a laptop with dedicated graphics, I would probably stay away from the game until you have something just a little bit more game friendly. That's really everything I can think to cover right now that matters in Star Citizen. As it says, this game is ever growing. It's still in a pre-alpha or alpha state. There's a lot of development happening. The team is working very hard all the time and making sure that they share their progress and their updates with us through the website, through their Twitter, and through their YouTube channel. They have a ton of different series available on their YouTube, including Around the Verse, 10 with the Producers, 10 from the Chairman. Just excessive amounts of transparency. And that's the kind of thing that you want to see when $83 million has been spent by the community to make this game happen. It's really the biggest crowdfunded game ever, and I really want to see it succeed. And I know a lot of people, they like to be really cynical, and that's a lot of money, they pour all this money into it, but when was the last time you even saw a game try and take risks like this? You haven't. We're in a world of 2-year development cycles and rehashed sequels. It's really dull and really boring, and it's why I have no problem spending $45 to see where this game goes moving into the future. I think the team is making something genuinely exceptionally exciting. That was a lot of unnecessary words, but you get what I'm trying to say. And every time they've released a module since I've been involved with the project, I've been really impressed. Just Arena Commander alone has come such a long way. The controls are better than ever, the game looks gorgeous, and it's really satisfying to play even in early state. I can't wait for the first-person shooter module, and if you want to know more about Star Citizen or see any sort of other content, be sure to go ahead and check out my Star Citizen playlist as well as my channel. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. I've got role plays, I've got stuff on the combat, general breakdowns on different discussions regarding news that we've received from the game, and even small looks into the future of what the game is going to be all about, and sort of my anticipation for different components. Go ahead, click those annotations, check out the channel, let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions regarding anything that I've said here or Star Citizen, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be glad to have them. I'll be glad and happy to answer them and try and give you a straight answer, and I'm sure that there is a plethora of members of the Star Citizen community who already watch my content who will also be more than happy to give you an answer and set you on the right path to knowing more about what the hell Star Citizen is. I'll see you in the next one.